King crab is one of the most dramatic seafood products on Earth. A massive armored crustacean pulled from icy waters, cooked almost immediately, and shipped across oceans to high-end restaurants and supermarkets worldwide. It's famous for its long legs, sweet meat, and premium price, but what most people never see is the brutal, high-risk industrial chain that makes king crab possible. From stormy seas and heavy steel pots to flash-freezing tunnels and global cold chain logistics, king crab production is a race against time, temperature, and the extreme environment of the northern oceans. And today on The How Factory, we're going deep into the world of king crab to see exactly how king crab is caught, cooked, processed, and shipped worldwide. King crab wasn't always a global luxury. For generations, coastal communities in the North Pacific and Arctic regions harvested crab locally, but the modern king crab industry exploded as cold storage, shipping technology, and international demand expanded. The most famous king crab fisheries operate in regions like the Bering Sea near Alaska, where strict regulations and seasonal openings control harvest to protect stocks. King crab isn't a year-round industry. It's a short, intense season where fleets work non-stop, often in dangerous weather because the world's demand is enormous and the window is small. The process begins far out at sea, where commercial crab boats deploy massive traps called pots. These pots are heavy steel cages built to survive deep water, powerful currents, and repeated impacts. Each pot can weigh hundreds of kilograms and is baited with fish to attract crab. The pot is lowered to the ocean floor using cranes and hydraulic winches, attached to long lines marked by buoys at the surface. In many fisheries, pots are set in long strings covering large areas of seabed. After soaking for hours or days, boats return to haul the pots up. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the operation. Pots are pulled from deep water by hydraulic haulers, swinging violently as they break the surface. Crews work quickly to stabilize them on deck. The ocean is cold, the deck is slippery, and the pots are heavy enough to crush equipment or injure workers if mishandled. Once the pot is opened, king crabs spill out onto sorting tables. Immediately, the crew begins selecting legal crab. King crab fisheries are heavily regulated. Only crabs above a minimum size are kept. Many fisheries only allow males to be harvested, protecting breeding females to sustain populations. Crews use measuring tools and quick visual checks to identify legal specimens. Undersized or protected crabs are returned to the ocean alive. This sorting step is critical not only for sustainability but for product quality. Healthy crab must be handled carefully. Broken legs reduce value and stress can affect meat quality. The retained crab is placed into holding tanks on board or stored in chilled seawater systems depending on the vessel design. Many operations use live hold systems to keep crab alive until processing. Once catches are secured, crab boats race back to processing locations. Some vessels operate near shore plants, but many king crab fisheries rely on processing ships, floating factories that cook and freeze crab at sea. This is essential because king crab is highly perishable. Once the crab dies, internal enzymes begin breaking down meat quality fast. The industry solves this by cooking and freezing quickly, often within hours of capture. When crab enters a processing ship or shore plant, the first step is cleaning and staging. Crab is moved into controlled areas where workers sort by size and condition. Large king crab legs must be handled carefully to prevent damage. Even a small crack in a shell can reduce the final presentation. Cooking is the next major stage, and it happens fast. King crab is typically cooked by boiling or steaming in massive industrial cookers. Continuous boiling systems use large vats filled with salted water. Crab is loaded into baskets and lowered into boiling water for a precise time based on size. Cooking time is critical. Undercooked crab is unsafe and unpleasant, while overcooked crab becomes tough and dry. The goal is to cook meat just enough to set texture and stop enzymes while preserving sweetness. After boiling, crab must be cooled immediately. Cooling stops the cooking process and prevents meat from becoming rubbery. Cooling often happens in cold seawater baths or chilled brine systems. In large plants, conveyor systems move crab through cooling zones with carefully controlled temperatures. Once cooled, processing depends on the final product. Some king crab is sold as whole clusters, sections of leg still attached. Other products are split legs, cleaned meat portions, or premium leg segments. Many factories focus on leg clusters because that's what consumers recognize most: long red legs with huge meat inside. To prepare clusters, workers remove the crab body and separate legs into sections. Sharp cutting tools or mechanical shears cut joints cleanly without splintering shell. The body is usually not shipped as premium product in many markets, but it is not wasted. Body meat may be processed for other products, and shells can be used in stock bases, animal feed additives, or industrial chitin extraction. At this stage, plants may also split legs. Splitting means cutting the shell lengthwise to make it easier for customers to access meat. This can be done using band saws or specialized cutting systems. The cut must be precise, deep enough to open the shell but not so deep that it damages meat. Now comes freezing, the most important step for global shipping. King crab for international markets is almost always frozen. The freezing method determines quality. High-end operations use blast freezers or plate freezers. Blast freezers use extremely cold air moving at high speed to freeze crab rapidly. Plate freezers press crab between chilled metal plates, freezing it fast and evenly. Rapid freezing creates smaller ice crystals, preserving texture and preventing meat from becoming mushy when thawed. Some king crab is frozen using brine freezing, where crab clusters are immersed in super chilled salt water. This freezes surfaces extremely fast and creates a protective glaze. Glazing is common in crab processing. A thin layer of ice is applied to the frozen crab by dipping it briefly into cold water. This glaze prevents freezer burn and protects the product during long storage and shipping. After freezing, king crab enters inspection and packaging. Workers check cluster size, shell integrity, and appearance. Optical systems and weight checks verify portion accuracy. Packaging is designed to protect the crab and maintain cold conditions. Clusters are packed into lined boxes or heavy plastic bags, sealed, labeled, and coded for traceability. Labels often include harvest region, processing date, and product type. Boxes are stacked onto pallets and moved into deep freeze warehouses. These cold storage facilities operate at extremely low temperatures to maintain product quality for months. Inventory systems rotate stock to ensure freshness. Distribution is where king crab becomes truly global. Frozen king crab is shipped in refrigerated containers on cargo ships and trucks across continents. Cold chain control is absolute. A temperature spike during transport can cause partial thawing and refreezing, ruining texture and creating food safety risks. That's why shipments are monitored with sensors and data loggers, tracking temperature from plant to customer. Live king crab shipping does exist, but it is far less common due to difficulty and mortality risk. Most king crab consumers experience the product in frozen form, reheated by steaming or boiling. That frozen stability is what makes king crab available worldwide. Behind the scenes, king crab processing also involves strict regulation and sustainability controls. Fisheries enforce quotas, size limits, seasonal openings, and sometimes individual vessel limits. King crab populations can fluctuate dramatically based on ocean conditions, so management is critical. This is one reason king crab is expensive. Supply is limited and tightly controlled. The work itself is intense. Fishing crews operate in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Processing crews work long shifts in cold, wet environments where speed matters. The product is valuable, but the environment is unforgiving. Every stage is built to protect quality. Fast capture, careful sorting, rapid cooking, immediate freezing, and strict cold chain logistics. What makes king crab production remarkable is the combination of danger, precision, and speed. It begins with steel pots slammed by waves and ends with perfectly packaged clusters, ready for luxury dining. The entire process is a race to preserve freshness while navigating extreme cold, strict regulations, and long-distance shipping demands. From deep ocean floors and stormy seas to boiling vats, freezing tunnels, and global refrigerated containers, king crab's journey is one of the most dramatic supply chains in the food world. Every cluster represents hard labor, careful management, and industrial engineering designed to bring a fragile ocean product to tables thousands of kilometers away. And that is exactly how king crab is caught, sorted, cooked, cooled, processed, frozen, glazed, packed, stored, and shipped worldwide, transforming a wild Arctic crustacean into one of the planet's most prized seafood delicacies. Thanks for watching The How Factory, where we reveal how the world really works. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again for more deep dives into the ships, factories, and systems behind global foods.